A big change happening if you're driving DoorDash or thinking about driving DoorDash. You're gonna wanna stay tuned. This is a huge change. So I'm at Your Driver Mike HQ. This is my twin brother, Mike. Go check out his channel, Your Driver Mike. I'm a part of the team. My name is Matt. Welcome to the channel. On our channel, we give you in-the-field content to make sure that you're maximizing your time on the road on your favorite side hustle. Okay, so the deal is for DoorDash Dashers, typically when you drive and you get an order right, you'll see your earnings, and then it usually includes the tip amount, the expected tip amount from the customer. Well, some marketplaces here in the US, at least 8, probably more, let us know down below in the comments, are not seeing that. So I wanted to talk to you about that. I mean, you drive for DoorDash here in Pittsburgh, and again, you're seeing your entire earnings with the tip included. I just wanted to ask you first off, have you noticed that? And then kind of what would you do if you really just saw the base pay? Right, so this is a huge change. So if you're new to driving food delivery, or even if you're a veteran driver, this is a big change. So like Mike said, you typically have a good indication of how much money am I going to make before you accept the request. Now, big change, you don't see as much now on DoorDash. You're seeing less information. So for a driver, this is a huge change. You have less information to go on to make that decision. Now, have you seen the standard order screen, or have you seen the new one that's obscured the tip amount? So in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as of recording this video, we have not seen the change yet, and we're not sure if it is going to happen. And now, like what Mike said, it is in limited markets at this time, but currently it's the standard screen. So if you saw, let's say, a $10 payout, right, on your order request screen, and it says, includes DoorDash pay and expected customer tip, what happens if you're driving, it says includes $3 DoorDash pay is what it's gonna say, and then 100% of tip. So you're only seeing, $3 guaranteed. You have no idea that it would be a $10 payout. Maybe it won't, maybe it'll be a $4 payout. How would you go about that if you started to see that here in Pittsburgh? Yeah, so that's a huge gamble. So for you guys who watch the channel, think about if you're an Uber Eats driver or if you were a Postmates driver. There was a lot less information and smaller orders we've seen on Postmates specifically. So you really were taking a gamble, and that's what I see it as. You're taking a gamble, well, how much extra money am I going to make? So we'll go into a lot more really crucial information here later in the video, but you're taking a big gamble. Well, speaking of, so only seeing the base pay with an unknown tip amount, I feel like you drive less. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like you'd have to drive less from DoorDash because you don't know. I mean, you had a fantastic shift on Grubhub recently, massive orders. So, I mean, am I right? I mean, thinking that you'd just have to drive less. So here's the thing. So I would not immediately throw DoorDash out the window. So if you're currently a driver or thinking about it, this is not the end of the world. Again, it's unlimited markets, but that could change. Now, the strategies that we teach you on this channel, on my channel, on the Your Driver Mike channel, is to choose the order that's best for you. So high dollars and low mileage. Obviously, with less information, well, I'm gonna choose an app like Uber Eats or Grubhub, excuse me, that'll give you more information. So it does give you a disadvantage as a driver. So just keep that in mind as you are deciding, well, which app should I drive? I would agree with that because, I mean, think about it when you're driving out there. I mean, seeing the success that you saw on Grubhub just this past weekend, definitely we'll leave a video linked so you can watch that recent shift. But I mean, Grubhub, for instance, you can't see the routes, you can't see expected miles, but you can at least see the entire pay. You had some, we won't give it away, but you had some crazy big orders. So, I mean, to agree with that point there is I feel like I'd have to drive more on Uber Eats, on Grubhub, simply because of pay. Do you agree with that? So think about this. What really matters to you watching this video? And it's probably how much money am I going to make, right? So with less information, again, you're taking a gamble. So there were some huge payouts on Grubhub for me this weekend, like Mike said. So knowing in our marketplace of Pittsburgh that Grubhub has been really strong for me, and Uber Eats is always consistent if I have less information on DoorDash, it's not going to be the first go-to for me.
Well, and speaking of bonuses, because, again, the most important thing to you when you're driving is typically bonuses, it's pay. I received a phenomenal Quest bonus, which is their batch bonus on Uber Eats, of course, for this upcoming weekend. So let me kind of shift the conversation here. So limited marketplaces that we talked about, and let us know down below in the comments. Do you have the regular screen on DoorDash? Do you have this new screen that's obscuring the tip amount? So we've seen that when it does change to the new order screen, it's typically just for a day, a shift, maybe a couple of orders. And I talked about it really being an A/B test. DoorDash is saying, hey, check out this screen, we'll go back to this screen. And maybe, we would assume they're gauging driver reactions here. Do you think this is going to extend into more marketplaces? Do you think it's going to decrease because of driver backlash? So is this just going to be a short-term beta test, or do you think this is something that DoorDash is going to keep trying to push here?
Right, so here's my opinion. I don't think it's going to be a nationwide, every driver is going to have this. But think about this. If you're considering driving DoorDash, is this going to give you incentive to sign up? If you're a current driver, how does that make you feel that you're essentially being they're testing this on you? Now, I understand, so DoorDash, in my opinion, may be doing this to see how it affects which rides drivers take. Because you take away that tip amount, or you withhold a little bit of information, now you're going off of, well, what's the mileage and things like that, less so how much money am I gonna make. But that's what incentivizes us as drivers. So I think it's gonna shift drivers' attention away from DoorDash. I think it's gonna hurt them, and that may cause them to take it away even sooner than expected. And I definitely don't think it's gonna cause them to spread it out nationwide.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna be long-term. This is something I talked about too. I said that the driver feedback is gonna be quick, it's gonna be immediate, and it's gonna be pretty negative. I don't feel like drivers, because think about it. It's really shifting the strategy from just that, from strategy, okay, I have all my information, to really gambling with your earnings, saying, I don't know if there could be zero tip. It could show $4 with no tip. It could be a $10 tip. And talk to me about this, but the only good time that I feel like DoorDash obscured information for the better was for exceptionally higher tips. So it's, remember, your order may say, total may be higher. So that $10 payout that we talked about, it might be $18 because DoorDash is obscuring that higher tip amount. That's really the only good time that they've obscured information, in my opinion.
Right, so think about this, and I know I sound like a broken record, but on average, and we've gone over the numbers, on average, most customers give you a tip. So if you're wondering, well, how much money am I gonna make? This is only a $3 order. Well, you're almost sure that you're gonna get a tip. Now, most customers, we've broken down the numbers, most are going to give you a tip, but you won't know how much or how much estimated tip because it's gone. So you're really just going off of how often do I typically get a tip. You're just assuming that you're getting one, but again, you have less information. So if I know I'm getting $12 over here on Grubhub versus $5 on DoorDash, and I'm just guessing, I hope I get a tip to bring me up to $12, I would probably steer away again from DoorDash. But again, I think this is temporary. I would not freak out. We'll see what happens.
Well, that's a massive point because you need to look at the data because yes, statistically, my customers on any app, it's 90 to 95, 98% of them left a tip. So generally, you should be getting a tip on 90+% of your orders, even if you can't see that tip amount on this new screen. Now, I would look at your data to see, okay, you talked about, we know that most customers would tip. Well, how much? Generally, I see anywhere from $3 to $5 on average. So I think it's going to be challenging. And just to land the plane on this point here, but, are you seeing maybe 80% of customers tip for some reason? Or maybe more alarmingly, 70%? And or are you seeing less average tip amounts from $3 to $5? Maybe you're taking home $2 on average or $3 average on tip. What is that saying about this program? So just closing question for you. Do you think this is going to hurt DoorDash in the long run? Do you think this was a misstep? I feel like it was. And What can they do? What can DoorDash do to help you as a driver? Other programs, are they missing opportunities elsewhere?
So there's definitely a reason for it. We don't know the reason, but we can react to it. So if you are watching this video and you're in that marketplace, again, if this has not changed for you and you're still seeing that tip estimate, just keep driving like normal. It does not affect you. Maybe it'll change, maybe not, and we'll keep you updated if we see anything here in Pittsburgh, but I think it really will hurt those areas that are affected because again, if I'm just guessing and hoping that I'm getting a tip, whereas I know on Uber Eats or Grubhub, I'm guaranteed that number. Well, if I only have an hour or two, maybe you're watching and you drive part-time, maybe you have a full-time job like myself and I drive part-time, then I'm gonna take the one that's guaranteed. I mean, I only have 2 hours to drive or whatever happens to be. So in my opinion, a little bit of a misstep, but I mean, they're just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. So thank you again for joining this video with Mike, my twin brother, on my channel, Your Driver Team Matt. I'm a part of the Your Driver Mike team. Make sure if you like this content to drop a like and consider subscribing to see my weekly videos that are meant to help you maximize your time on the road on your favorite side hustle.